All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Jessica Riverson, and this is Monica Pelayo, and we are here for the break room. We're really excited. Today, we're going to talk about being versus doing in your business. So, how are you doing back from Costa Rica?
Well, I'm literally landing. I got here last night, and I'm literally landing. So, what an awesome way to land, from this amazing week and then land in a break room and just take a break before I start my week. And a different kind of break, because it was like a whole, like right now, blab thing, and your hour changed, and I didn't know that, and it was this whole time changing. But
well, I think it's all perfect because of our topic,
Yes.
So, so I just want to welcome everyone that's here. We've got a lot of people on live, so thank you for the props. So Sonia just gave us props. If you guys are liking this blab, there's these little yellow hands, and if you just click on those hands, you can give us props. And the other thing you can do to spread this conversation, this conscious conversation out, is to actually tweet this. So you can share. There's a little blab is always changing. I swear, from week to week, there's something new, because now it looks like a yellow button. Let me try it myself. Oh, you can share the last 30 seconds. That was not there before, like a couple weeks ago. So you could say something like, I'm listening to this blab show, check it out, or something like that. And you can share it with your followers. So
why do we need the, well, not that we need it, but like, why is it good for people to give props? It mean to us in blab?
Honestly, I don't know the answer to that. I mean, as far as you and I, it's good for us to know that they're liking our message. I know on Periscope, the hearts mean something. So it's kind of like hearts. But I don't know if it does anything as far as moving us. It probably moves us higher on the channel, so more people might see it. But to be honest, you guys, I don't know. So someone who's an expert on blab probably knows the answer to that.
We're all kind of new. I mean, I was just talking with Jeremy about it, and I totally want to support it.
I mean, I've done like a lot of blabs, and like I said, this new button was not there last like couple weeks ago. So they're always changing. But anyway, let's get into our topic. Because
how did it get to, like, how did you come up with that? Because when you sent me, let's talk about this, you were so passionate in the moment, and you were getting something, and I'm like, let's talk about this. So can you share with me? I never did.
So actually, I mean, I will answer that, but I just thought it was really funny that we decided on the topic, being versus doing, and then last night, my power was out, and I'm in Seattle. Monica's in Madrid. So our power was out, no internet, couldn't charge my phone, nothing. And I was like, oh, this is perfect. Like, I have no internet. Like, I can't do what I normally do. And it's like, I was like, this is so perfect, because tomorrow we're talking about being versus doing. And I literally couldn't think of anything to do. I was like, I can't even use my Kindle to read. I can't even read. I mean, I have real books, but not very many. So I was like, wow, this is forcing me. And actually, I fell asleep really early. We actually lit a fire, and my teenage son was like sitting by the fire, and my daughter, who's 2, was there. My husband was there, and in our room, because we have a fireplace in our room, and I just passed out. So it was really funny, because I was like, wow. So when I unplug from like my phone and technology, it gives me that chance to actually just relax and rest, or just be, right? Just be with yourself. So I thought that was funny. And then this morning, you and I were talking, and I'm like, oh yeah, we're going to start in like an hour and 15 minutes. And you're like, what? I'm picking up my kids. I have this going on. And so we had daylight savings here yesterday. And you came in from Costa Rica. So I think it's like it's just funny how we chose this topic, and then all this stuff happened. But now, and so then like you and I had that choice, right? To like freak out and like be like, oh my God. or just like, okay, let's just be in the moment. Let's just, and luckily Sonia helped us, right? Sonia helped us fix our little, time thing. So having support on your side is, I think, essential to, especially as an entrepreneur. It's like building your online coaching business. Having support is something that allows you to do more of the being versus doing. Because if you're freaking out thinking you have to do everything yourself, it's hard to be in the being space, And
also, and it's not only support in your business, the people that work for you. It's not only supporting your business, like, okay, well, don't worry, I'll change it, but also the support. And that happens with me with Sonia. And is that when she reminds me, she's like, Monica, you are in a week retreat. Bring all that in your breath. I mean, she didn't say exactly those words, but bring it all in your breath. Because I was like, Sonia, I'm picking up the kids at their school. I haven't gotten home literally since Costa Rica. I'm just walking in like 10 minutes before the blab. And I'm like, and I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm like, I don't even know if I'm gonna make it. I don't know. I just found out the day I said, and I'm like, and she's like, just breathe it in. And I'm like, I am breathing it in, calling you. And but then she kind of reminded me, she's like, just your only job right now is making it on time. And I'm like thinking, and when I get there, just really bring into the break room why we started this. We're just so passionate about having this real conversations of what really goes on, and how do we get back into that place. And when you were and you sent me a message saying, hey, Mom, this is because I was so stressed out. I'm like, I should have known this the day lifesaving. And you're like, hey, you know what?
Well, I didn't know either. Like, that's my fault.
And you tell me, you know what? Being versus action. What was it? What did you say?
I just said being versus doing, like everything that was going on. Because I knew if I were in your position and I thought I had 2 hours to prepare and I only had an hour and I had to pick up my kids, like I totally felt like, okay, I bet she's like stressing out right now. And I was like, it's perfect because the topic of our blab is being versus doing. So I actually made some notes on my little post-it. I have like so many things to talk about. I really want to hear, like, first and foremost, your perspective, because I feel like you were just on this amazing retreat in Costa Rica. Like, I want to know what you learned about being versus doing, and like how you're going to apply that to your business and to your life, because I think that's like the most exciting thing we should talk about first.
Yes, well, thank you for that, because if not, I was going to explode before I finish this call. But I was really thinking about it, and I wrote down, that both are really important. Taking action is so important for our business. Because sometimes we ask ourselves, like, do I feel like it? And we just kind of don't do it. And that's one of our guests here, Jeremy, talks about, taking action and all this stuff, don't stop, right?
Mm-hmm.
But what I see the distinction of both is, one thing is taking action. I wrote this down. It's like, one thing is taking action at work. Oh, my jamming music just started. Taking action at work is important for us, but soulful embodying our work is where I find my success.
Mm-hmm.
So being our work, like fully embodying, and that's why it's so important that we connect with our true message, our message that frees us every day, that frees us so much, and it fills us with such passion and gratitude that we extend it to others. That's what us coaches do.
That's beautiful.
So embodying is being the work.
Mm-hmm.
And I think when you come from that place, it's so much easier.
So it's like being the work and then doing the work.
Right. But how beautiful it is to, doing, I'm going to say action, right? The action taken.
Mm-hmm.
So the action taken is so important in our business. And it comes more from a masculine energy that we absolutely need, and we embrace it beautifully, right? But our feminine energy, which is the fully embodiment of our message, the living it, that the waking up in the morning, and sometimes you don't wake up really happy, or you're a little bit nervous, or you're fully thinking like, what am I going to do today? Instead of really waking up and seeing, oh my God, I'm living the work. And for me, it was a great experience because I was there with 18 women. Mm-hmm. And our biggest intention, this is an amazing mastermind, and our biggest intention, we didn't think it was to connect the way we did. But before we left, we all said, what am I taking? What am I doing? And people said amazing things. And one of the things that I take with me is that we're going to stand. We're a stand for each other's success. And there's no one we leave behind. There's going to be no one there's not going to be one being super successful and one left behind. Like we're not a stand for that. And this is a small group, but imagine if we could extend that in our communities to say, I will not be successful fully until we're all successful. And it's amazing because everybody has their own, their own gift. And everybody was like, okay, Mom, you're not really good at this. I'm really good at this. I'm not really good at integrating the shadow. Well, I'm good at this. So we're all extending it. There's no one left behind in our business. So that's for me, the being, the truly embodying it. It's I think the most amazing things in our lives can't be explained, like love, right? Like sisterhood, the true sister. We could talk about love. We could talk about sisterhood. We could talk about all these other things, but embodying them, we can't explain it. And I think what, being and doing can really join together, the being your work and taking action in honor of that.
I love that. Because think about, like, if we're doing our work, like doing, and just like checking off a list, which I like to check off my list, but if you do that long enough without being the work, then you'll start to resent it. You'll start to resent your clients. You'll start to resent the work. You'll start to burn out. You'll start to just hate it, right? And I've been in that place where it was all about the doing, like, I got to do this, and then I got to do that, and then I got to do that. And I think for coaches, like, we didn't get into the work to just be like robots checking things off and doing like lead pages and landing pages and like all that techie stuff that helps us grow our message and reach more people. But if we get like way deep into that and then we forget the being the work, I love how you say being the work. Like, that's so cool. That's what I'm going to take away from today. I love that.
And we could add it and we could say soulful being. Because it is, when I talk about the soul, I'm talking about the soul, our whole self, right? And it's just embracing, and maybe add that to our checklist in the morning.
Yeah, exactly.
In the morning when we wake up, before we check our first is, are you soulful being this message, right? Because, how many women have you really helped in your business that are so grateful to you and they absolutely love you and they have this gratitude? I think an eye of gratitude is one of our biggest gifts, right? Of other people. So I think about you, all that you do, right? And how successful one can be when you take action. Because you could see it constantly, how you take action and how good money you're making, right? But I think that sometimes we focus so much in that success part.
Yes.
To getting up in the mountain, and we just don't see what's on the way there. So when some people come to the mountain and they're like, so is this success? And it's like, so no, like.
Or they feel alone at the top, they feel like they've had to get there not by collaborating, but by like separating themselves or something,
and
you know?
That's where I think true success is. When you get on top of the mountain, it's not you being on top of the mountain that makes you feel successful. What makes you feel successful, almost when you want to start crying, you think, I am so blessed. The whole way while I was helping people, people were helping me, and there was this hand. And then, so that's where you feel the true success. Because if you're just focused on that, you will miss out on the view when you're, when you're going like in the middle of the mountain and you look, around and you're like, wow, what a great experience. And sharing it with someone, and having a conversation makes it even more powerful.
Right.
I think that's awesome.
Yeah, totally. Well, so on Friday, I went to this event that I go to every month, and it's called Braveheart Women, if you guys want to Google it or anything. So it's called Braveheart Women, and they do these harmony circles all across the world. And so there's a chapter in my local area. And so when we go there and we gather with these women once a month, so I went on Friday, one of the exercises was, do we hold hands? I think we were holding hands, and there was two women in the middle, and we just really recognize her success, like for who she is, not like success necessarily externally, but I won't go into detail about the exercise because you got to be there to experience it. But that's kind of the gist of it, where there was a point where we were like holding hands and we were like just celebrating the woman that was like in the middle of the circle. And it's just an amazing experience just to, like, when I go there, it's not about work. It's not about anything. Like, I'm not even talking about what I do or anything. It's just being there with other women who want to have a deeper experience of themselves. And I feel like it's what we're talking about here, like the being versus doing.
See, that is work too. If we embody it, so it is work. Like, I was in this mastermind, right? Some people know the Mission Weekly Mastermind, which is amazing. And Kelly's here from my mastermind. She's here in total full-on support. And I noticed that in 1 week, I created more business ideas, business action, business everything without feeling it worked. Because that's my whole point. It's like the soul embodiment and taking action. And it's always
I love this conversation. This is so good. Remember 2 weeks ago, we were talking about the shadow behind six-figure success. Remember that was our first show 2 weeks ago? And this is perfect, goes with that, right? Because we were talking about, like we were just saying, like climbing the mountain and kind of feeling like you're alone at the top. And the way you had to get there was by like separating yourself from others. And now we're talking about being with others, collaborating, tapping into your soul purpose as a way to become successful in a way that's not going to deplete you, right? Because like you can do the whole six-figure thing and then you can get really depleted like I did, right? And just like it can just wear you down. And so I love that you guys did that, like a whole week. I believe it. Like I totally believe that business strategies that come from inspiration are the ones that work, because I see people like all over, they're employing the same business strategies, right? Like your coach tells you something and everyone does the same business strategy, but it works for some people and it doesn't work for other people. So like if you're not being, right, if the being part isn't aligned with the doing, then you're just doing and following someone else's plan that isn't really your own plan. It doesn't connect for you.
And that's why I think it's so important that we have these, to invest on ourselves in a way to kind of join these masterminds or sisterhoods, or just even coming here to blab, right? That I hope that people that come here know that you guys have our support in so many ways, and we can have the conversations and we could, have an open seat for you to come and visit, because it is all about having some true support, like really from the heart, like we got you, we got you. And I know we talk a lot about women, and because I guess that's our kind of where you and me are focused, but for example, there's Jeremy here, right?
Hi,
and
Jeremy.
Jeremy is, I was telling, I don't know if you, before you came in, I was talking about like how amazing he is, and he's so in touch with his femininity, and he really, really supports women in his work, and he has like a big, chunk of followers and whatever. I'm one of them, but how it is important.
I'm one of them now too, because I followed him. You guys, everyone follow Jeremy.
Yeah, so yeah, follow Jeremy. But here's the thing, even though we talk to women because this is who we are and this is our experience we want to have, but how important it is to have men support us in this kind of priestesshood that sometimes we jump in. And it's funny because a week before, and this is like, I can't believe I'm going to say this, but I kind of secretly judged a little, the whole like, oh, everything is so wonderful and everybody's in love and there's all these unicorns and all that stuff. Dude, I left that place super in love. There was an exercise that we had to look each other in the eyes, which I used to hate those exercises because it made me nervous.
That's what we did on Friday as well. Yeah.
Yeah. So this was like, but I don't know how many hours it was. Imagine we're like 16. I think we were in the thing, but of course, looking the Costa Rica view and this amazing place, right? And there's Misha, with her, like the way she talks, right? After that, I believe in love at first sight. But true sight. I believe in, look, it makes me want to cry. Like looking at somebody in the eye and telling them, I got you. I got you. And I know what it is to feel non-supported, judged, criticized. That I know it too well. But entering this place of accepting that somebody else that doesn't know you wants your success, loves you, supports you, holds you, it is a feeling that I think we all have the right to feel. And how important it is to have our communities and take care of our communities. Not only, and that let's, for example, that you have your groups, and I see how much you care for them. Like you really spend the time, and that's why I remember you were having a hard time with this flab thing because you're like, oh, I don't know, I need this time to hold. And I know there was a lot of convincing there, but I'm so glad we're doing this because
I am too. Well, that was my fear. Is like, can I do more? The doing versus being. But what I have found with this blab and our intention with it, it is being. So instead of it being another thing I have to do, it is now from the beginning, from the first one, it is something, it is the break room. It is where we can be, where we're having conversations that we don't always get to have when we're busy doing. So you're so right. Like that was my fear. My fear was like, it's another thing to do. And coming from my brain of like, well, what am I going to get out of this? What's the ROI? What's this going to do? And it's like, and it's not even about that, right? It's about being with each other, being with others, sharing, and it's beautiful. I love it.
And that it creates business. See, I remember when people would say something like that, oh, it's not about the money. It's always like poo-pooing the money. And it's like, it's about what we feel. I think in a way, the way it was said, it didn't really cut to me because of the energy that it was said with, but like really like coming back to the being, right? The soulful being gives you the business because people will resonate or won't resonate. So like it's an awesome place to work on, not working on, am I going to make money? Just, trust that whoever's going to resonate. We all say the same to me. If you look at it, we all say
it's our own twist. But I have to tell you, like so many people, when I start to work with them, they will say, or if I say, what made you want to get on the phone with me and learn more? they will almost always say something that has more to do with me, or like something I shared, or, well, it's your energy, it's the story you shared. It's like, it is about the being part of me versus something like, well, your strategy was what really got me. You know what I mean? Like they're saying the reason they reached out is because of the energy. So I think you're absolutely right. When you're in the being, you're going to attract more business, you know? And actually, can I segue into that? Because
totally.
Notes about that. So we were talking about like building your coaching business versus doing, right? So one thing I thought of was like, for example, when you're doing a discovery session, by the way, you guys, we're going to open up for questions in like, I would say 5 or 10 minutes. Does that sound good?
And if you don't have a question, maybe you could
comments. Yeah. Join the conversation.
Yeah. I would love to hear.
So I just want to make a couple points and then we can like bring people in to talk about it. So building your coaching practice, right? We have like sales conversations. So discovery sessions, consults. So when you're in a discovery session, I was thinking about the being versus doing, right? So the doing is like putting out your message. And while you're doing that, you also want to be being the message. Like you said, being the brand, being the message. You do your actions, you put the message out there, you make invitations to have a discovery session. Then when you're on the discovery session, it is important to say certain things. I mean, it's good to know how to make that conversation flow, but the best thing you can do is be with that person, right? Like the best salespeople are not ones that are like thinking of their next question or thinking of how they're going to like, you know, manipulate the situation. Like they're being, I think the best salespeople are like being present. They're listening. They're like connecting with the person. They're not like, I mean, I think it's helpful to have a script, but they're not like, okay, my script says I have to say this. Like they've kind of gotten so comfortable with their script that they can just be, right? So I think that's something that in our coaching business, being is very important when it comes to the sales call, right?
Yeah.
And then I put down for marketing, when you're doing your marketing, if you don't believe what you're saying, if you're just writing posts because you think you need to write a post today, or you think you need to write an email today, I find like, I mean, there's a certain amount of structure that I try to follow, like send a certain number of emails and do a certain number of posts. But what I've found is like when I've come up with something on the fly, like a post or an email or like a message, those ones seem to always get more engagement because it's truly from my inspiration. It's not like
it's your
I write an email, so what the heck should I write today? You know, like
engaged, right? Like you get engagement because you were truly engaged in the moment that you were writing.
Right. So if you think about as a coach, like all the things that we're doing, even if you're like building a lead page or writing your sales page for your next awesome program, if we get hung up in doing it perfect, doing it right, all that stuff, and we get out of the being, it just becomes a really big chore. It takes 10 times longer because when you're in a place of being an inspiration, you just kind of get it out and then you're like, even if it's not perfect, you're just so excited about it. You know, like you're so in alignment with it that you just like put it out there. And that's why sometimes you see people on social media or online that they don't necessarily have everything perfect, but they put their stuff out there consistently because they believe it. They're in the moment. They're like letting it flow. And those people are very successful a lot of times. You know, I mean, there's something to be said for like proofreading your work and stuff like that. But at the same time, the people that are just truly genuine, being the work, that's like, I'm adopting that new phrase that you gave me, being the work, they tend to like, they get clients more effortlessly. Like things come to them easier because they're focusing on the being versus like doing everything right, doing everything perfect, doing everything in the perfect order. As much as I talk about doing things in the right order and stuff like that, you can't deny your inspiration. You know, you can't deny who you are in the process.
Totally. And I think, people must, because that was my question before when I used to hear like, be the work, it's almost like the Nike, kind of like just do it, right? Like being the work. And I think for us to really know if we're being the work is when you tell it to yourself and it makes you want to cry a little bit. And I think depending on who you are, me, I notice things because it makes me want to cry a little bit, right? It's like so beautiful that it makes me want to cry when I tell myself, like, what is that you want to accomplish in this world, right? What's your message going to accomplish? Or what would you like it to be accomplishing, right? And I just tell myself, like all the stuff, and it just kind of, if it feels like that, like I almost want to cry, maybe it'll make people want to dance, right? Or some people maybe want to have a shot of tequila. I don't know, is that everybody's differently? But I think that if it makes a movement in your whole system and your body, that's what it means embody.
Yes.
So like when you embody,
it drives you, it energizes you.
Right. And it just kind of makes you feel like grateful, like in a state of gratitude, right? For just like the beauty of the work, right? Now, how we're going to do it, we don't know, but in the moment that, we'll stress out later, but like in the moment, it's like, that is a beautiful message. That is a beautiful gift of healing, or that is a beautiful place to start. But, it is important in order for us to keep that way. It is so important to be supported in that femininity, in that feminine way of integrating our business and cover, you want to say, because we have so much masculine action and we need that femininity, and we can, and there's people like Jeremy. We should totally open the spot for Jeremy if he wants to talk.
Yeah, Laura just came on too, Laura Fenamore.
Huh? You what?
I said Laura Fenamore just came on too.
Oh, I love Laura. How are you, Laura?
Yeah, I thought Laura would have a lot to comment on. I'm so bummed that you missed the first half hour, but I'm so glad you're here because Monica has just been blowing my mind with her wisdom, and we've been having a great conversation. So, yeah, let's open up. Can you open up the two other seats, Monica? Because I don't know if they're open. Are the two other seats open?
Let me see.
I can't really tell if they are. You should be able to see it from your end. So while you're doing that, I want to just piggyback on what you were saying about, being the work, because even when you have to do the techie, the techie stuff, like write your emails and make your landing page and write a sales page, that stuff is time consuming. It can be stressful. Like you said, it's like the masculine structures that we need to put in place. But if we can stay in the being while we're doing those things do become easier, because then it's like, okay, well, if I don't know how to do it, I'll get some support. I'll ask for help. I'll stay in the high vibe. I'll stay in the being, because that's what has clients being attracted to me. Like, they're not being attracted. First of all, it's just good for you, right? It's not, don't be in the being to attract clients, but like be in the being for yourself and know that staying in that place is where others can connect with you. And look, I'm like not in that place all the time. Like don't be hard on yourself if you're not there all the time. It's just coming back to it.
And also I think when you're soulful being your work, action becomes an ease flow.
It becomes easier. The actions become easier.
It becomes a good feeling space to be. You know what I'm saying? So when we just take action, and this is kind of, it's going to be kind of an alarm. When we're taking action and we're like, oh, I need to do this, and I need to call this, and I have to do this, and whatever, and you're just so there, you're like, oh, I need to go back in the being, so we could start working together, so it could really express better. And honestly, when you come from the being, this is what I noticed this week. When you come from the being, time, for some reason, expands. Like I did, you know how when you're having a lot of fun, it goes really quick? Well, this time I experienced being really present to the work, and it was so long and it was beautiful because I thought, oh, I still have all these days left, and I feel like I've been here for a month in this like ecstasy, you know, in this Costa Rica trip. So I do think that soulful being, the work, brings you to this passion that when you take the action, it really makes it smooth. It's a smooth ride to success.
It energizes the doing. It energizes the doing, and it allows you to like avoid the freakouts and just like when something isn't working, it's like, okay, let me troubleshoot. Who can I ask for help? What can I do? And it just better prepares you to get through that, because the doing isn't always easy, right? Like there's sometimes like, oh, this technology doesn't work, or I thought I was going to do this, but then I realized I need this other thing. But all of that just kind of becomes more manageable because you're staying in that inspiration. So you guys, the seat is open. We have 2 seats, right? Is the other seat open, Monica?
Right now it shows Laura. Let me open her seat, and then we'll see.
You guys, the seat. Yeah, Laura.
There's another one open as well. If you.
Okay, so Laura's gonna come on. Love to chat with her, and then there's one more seat open. So come on in. Maybe Kelly wants to come in, or Jeremy, whoever wants to join in the conversation.
Yeah, so you can see Laura's.
Laura, she's coming. It's going to take a second, but she's coming.
All right.
Oh, while we're bringing her in, I actually did some research before this call. I found this great article about being cultures and doing cultures. And so being cultures, or doing cultures, like United States is very much a doing culture. And I was wondering, I'm just going to, while Laura's trying to get on here, I'm going to read what I found here on this. It's called smallplanetstudio.com. But she said that doing cultures, like status is earned. It's not just a function of who you are, like you have to work for it. Status is not automatic. And if you stop achieving, then you lose your status. Like if you quit your job, there's a lot of emphasis on deadlines, schedules, and tasks. Like doing takes precedence over being, like over personal relationships. So even over your family, like work stuff or doing stuff takes precedence. And then with the being cultures, it's just very different. Like your status is built into who you are. It's automatic, so you can't lose it, right? Like your title, like I think of maybe like a Japanese culture or something, like there's a lot of respect for your elders. So titles are important, and they should always be used to like show respect, and maintaining harmony is the most important. So they want to avoid confrontation and disagreement. So that's just a little bit of what I read there. And I was just curious, Monica, like what you think about that. I mean, being in Madrid, also being from Mexico, and then having lived in the United States, like, do you think there's something to that? Like there's being culture. I mean, all cultures have a little bit of both, but there's some cultures that are really about the doing and some that are really about the being.
You know, I think that right now, and it's funny that Laura's going to come in right now because I'm going to talk about this. Right now, I think there is a collective consciousness. Hi, Laura.
There she is. You're on, Laura.
Hello, Laura.
Laura.
Yes.
Like she can't hear us.
You can hear us? Laura.
Or she might be frozen a little bit. Oh, she's moving. I don't think she can. I don't know if she can hear us.
Okay, so I'm gonna take her out, and then you can send her a little message that we can hear her, or do you want to just send her?
I am talking.
Oh, there you are. Can you hear us?
I'm talking.
Yay!
Can you see us?
Can you see us, Laura? I don't know if she can hear us.
We can hear you. Tell her that we can hear her.
No. No, no sound.
Okay, we can hear you. She can't hear us.
Okay. Okay, I'm gonna close it and then get her back in, okay?
Okay. So Laura, you can, let's see.
Okay, Jeremy's here. Jeremy, do you want to call us while Laura is trying to get in?
You have to have 2 seats open. There's only 1 seat open.
Oh, there's 2. When
There
you
are,
open-
I only see 1. That's weird.
Right. So, and I'll answer that question. Look,
Okay,
there's
so
another open.
come in.
Hey, Jeremy.
How are you guys?
We're doing great.
Good.
Being here.
Where are you located?
I'm in San Antonio, Texas.
Oh, cool.
So let me answer this question, and then Jeremy could jump on this, and Laura, I'm going to accept her as well. So what you were saying about, our countries, and I was talking about what I've noticed being here in Europe, that there's like this collective consciousness right now, that it's not only for one country, but like really it's all over. And this is what this whole, like, what you talked about, status, and about, keeping our job, and about, all the stuff that you talked about, that action taking. So this really relates of what we were speaking of earlier, is that are we going to be working from fear, or we're going to be working from love? And that's what I think the soulful being and the fearful action taking can be really affecting our daily lives, and as a collective consciousness. Laura, can you hear us?
I can.
Yay! Thank you! Oh my gosh.
Yay!
I was a little distracted trying to think, if I was able to hear you.
I'm sorry for distracting you guys for trying to get on. Really, I'm sorry.
No, we're totally fine. We were just talking about this, and it's awesome that you came in, because Laura and me are students of A Course in Miracles, and we have it in our hearts, this whole 2 feelings of, is it love or is it fear? And I think what you were just saying, Jessica, about, being in that action taking, about where our status is, or if we're going to have the job, all that stuff comes really from fear. And when you integrate the being part, the soulful being, the really integrating the work, comes from love. And I think right now the world is in a very fearful state from what we see. Maybe there's another world that we don't see, and we don't see in the news and whatever, and that's the one that I've been trying to connect with. And I wish this could be a place where that really comes from love and passion, and I think that's the way that we're really bringing the message. So Jeremy, thanks for supporting such feminine conversation.
I think there's nuggets of wisdom that everybody can extract from pretty much everyone. I love the quote that says, "You're never too old to learn, and you're never too young to teach." But let me ask both of y'all a question, because I love interviewing successful female entrepreneurs. And one of the questions I always like asking is, I think I can speak more for the States than I can anywhere else. I think there's a lot of young females out there that have dreams in their heart, that have ambitions and have goals, but you hit the nail on the head with fear. They have fears of failure. They have fears of being held back. They have fears of even that society won't accept their ambition, which is ridiculous. So what words of wisdom would you give a young female that's wanting to embark on her journey and follow her passion? And how would you encourage her to embrace it and go out there and not be scared to do something significant with her life?
Do you want to take it first, or do I take it first?
Go ahead, Monica.
I think for me, we being women right now in this planet, in this time, we've been through this evolution, but we still carry in our blood certain fears of what happened to our ancestors and to the women that opened ways for, opened a different way of seeing life and their power, and for me, I think in a way, and young women and older women and any age, there's always going to be a sense of fear of what happened in the past. But when we embrace the gift of what the women behind us did for us, and this whole being and passion and love gives you the strength to make your life worth dying, dying for something that you love. I think you're the one that posted a long time, like, if you don't have something you would die for, I think you put it, if you don't have something that you would die for, then life is not worth living. Kind of like, it was something like that. And it really resonated, because it's like, if you're not passionate, then you're going to be all about fear instead of love, and all about like staying alive and not being hurt and not being noticed or whatever. Your whole business is going to be a little bit based on that, and your dreams are going to be based on that. But when you really embody and really take everything that was given to you from the past, everything that's going to be given to you from the future, and really in the present embody what you're truly grateful to all these humans, to all these experiences, I think fear starts, really falling. It becomes something that you're not focused, and where you focus, it expands. And so when we focus on our safety versus our passion and our dreams, that's when things get a little shady. But it is understandable, and I think that's why it's so important to build communities of sisterhood, and even that they're male, that supporting that womanhood and that feminine energy, if that makes sense. I don't know if I went all over the place, but I think that that's where I feel like young women have been focusing on their desires and what they deserve and what actions they're going to take. They're great on online business. But I think that when the fear comes is that when they have to really return to something bigger than them, and it's that part is inward. And that's the one that's going to give them true safety, because you're not going to be so worried about the body. You're going to be protecting the soul, if that makes sense.
Great answer.
Was I too?
Jessica, can I just give it a little stab? And Monica, is that okay?
I hear your answer.
So, Jeremy, my experience is I always say being a role model is the most powerful thing. So you being, a conscious male and being a role model for these women is super, super important. The other thing is that maybe just suggesting that they latch on to female role models that are powerful and important in their lives, and just use them as mentors. The other thing I want to suggest is that I describe, like, we have a mind, this mind, that's the intellectual mind. And then we have what I call truth, which is the great mind, which is the mind of reason, which is the mind of love, which is the mind of reality. And just when they're in that fear and that consciousness of nothing's going to work, nothing will work for me, they're in the intellectual mind, the ego, the darkness, the world of fear, which is what we all live in. So just lovingly suggesting that they that there is another world, that it's not the world that their mind is trapped in, that's going to lead them to a better place. And just suggesting that to some people just like totally lights them up and opens them up. And also, just from my own experience, I know that I'm very, very, very clear about my pain and where my pain comes from. My pain comes from attachment. When I get attached to this world, I'm lost, which is, Jessica has seen me in melt down many, many, many times, because I'm so attached to being what I think I should be, when what I'm really trying to be is who I am. And that's the world of truth versus the world of form, which is all about, if you're not making six figures and you're not this, then you're a piece of crap. And that's not true, but it's the trap and the hole that I fall into all the time. And when Monica was talking about that I just had a little mental blank, that when we are in our truth and that when we are not attached, then there's growth, there's room to breathe. But when we get constrained by the clock and time, forget it, we're screwed. Excuse my language, but it's true. So just imparting that in some way to these young women, that there is hope and help and possibility, and that it's just, a fearful mind that's going to tell them that it's not okay. And that there's lots of women like these women that are doing this that can lead them to truth.
That is so beautiful, Laura. That is so beautiful, because it's, it is saying there has to be another way. There has to be.
Well, showing examples. Like, Laura does such a good job sharing her before and after story, and being able to say, like, look, I felt like you, or these women felt like you, and look where they are now. Like, I don't think there's anything more powerful than story.
Creating, because this what she's talking about is that knowing that there is another world, right? There is another way, and if you can't find it, you have the option or the possibility to create it. It's like I talked to you, Jessica, 2 weeks ago, and I was like, kind of crying. And I'm like, I don't like this marketing community. It's just like, I hate it. And I've been talking about it, and I talked about it in my mastermind, and they were saying, like, we're going to create a new way of marketing, from our passion, from love, from, and maybe we're not even going to call it marketing. We're just going to call it, let's all succeed together, So I love this, Laura, that you said, like, there is another world. It's
well, I think that's where, like, online, like, the internet becomes a blessing, right? We can use it to see what everyone else is doing and be like, I need to do this, and I didn't do that, and this person's doing this, and oh my gosh, I should be doing that, and this person's life is great, and this person made this much money. And, like, it can be used for a platform for that, or we can actually use it as a platform to share, to tell the story, to show what's possible, And I think that's maybe what, like, Laura's talking about, what we're all talking about is, like, being able to show that there's a different way to think, there's a different way to be, you can overcome things. And I think that's really what our marketing should be more, if you want to call it marketing, right? Like, that's what the storytelling should be about. And that's how we can use the internet. That's why we're here on Blab. We have Madrid, Seattle, San Antonio,
San Francisco.
San Francisco. I always forget these. So how can I forget San Francisco? I know you're in California. We've got all of us here from all these different places connecting, right?
And also how important, and I do want to point something out here, that it sounds beautiful when you speak it, and it's like another way, and it's easy. But now seeing Jeremy here with us, and I, that I follow him, I notice how many haters are out there more if they see you in a way of success. And one of my commitments in this industry is seeing hate. Well, I'm going to call them haters, but or fearful people. I think that my commitment is to seeing them in another light for me. And I'm not talking from like, oh, I'm going to send them like, which I should. But I think for me, my judgment that comes towards them really shows something about me. Because I might think in the back of my head, like, oh, I don't think I'm making sense, right? But I don't say it. I create this whole making sense because, and this is where the shadow comes, right? It's like I create all this, like, I want to make good sense, and I'm not going to put anything out there because, I don't want them to see that about me, that sometimes I don't make sense. So if a hater would say, like, you know what, you don't make sense, I'd be like, oh, I hate fucking people that, and I'm like, hey, instead of going like, do you feel that about yourself sometimes?
Mm-hmm.
Judge yourself sometimes, like, let's be honest. why is it triggering so much? Now, when a hater or a fear person says something that I'm like really in peace with in my heart, like if somebody showed up right now and said, you know what, Monica, you're not being completely honest and loving and passionate about this conversation, that wouldn't affect me. I'd be like, oh, I would have no trigger. And I think that's what I've learned, and I think that's where kind of I'm at, because I feel just the thought about the haters, just the thought about them, which didn't make sense, because a lot of people are like, you shouldn't let other people affect you, and you should not. It's like, you are awesome, but like it really affected me. It really affected me. It really, being a person that I am, I'm like so sensitive to so many things. It really affected me, and I wanted to find a different way of seeing it. So yes, be in your power, yes, but also be open to check out your shadows when that comes forth, and who am I going to be in the presence of that as well, because it is part of the business, unfortunately.
I think a lot of people make a mistake when it comes to their haters or their naysayers, because they want to walk middle ground. They don't want to pick a side. And you have to take a stand on your beliefs and on your values. And if you offend people, that's okay. Those aren't going to be your tribe. That's not going to be your fans who are going to follow you. And too many people, men and women, are making the mistake to try to please everyone, when if you don't figure out who your target audience is and who you're going to speak to, you're going to have a lot of problems. I use an example when I speak about Howard Stern. And I don't know if he's international by any means, but a lot of people love him.
Everyone knows Howard Stern.
Yeah, we all know.
He has an absolute massive following, and they wrote him hundreds of millions of dollars in checks to be on their show. And so he took a stand and he said, this is where I am. And granted, I personally don't agree, but I think we all can dissect and learn from somebody who actually follows what they believe in their convictions, instead of says, well, I could be persuaded one way or another. That's a mistake.
Well, and he's not afraid to be himself, and his whole thing is saying whatever's on his mind, whatever he thinks. It's not PC. Not everyone likes it, and he's not going to sugarcoat it. So
and
yeah,
also, I'm sorry,
you guys. I have to leave now. I have to leave. So let me wrap this.
I have to go too.
But stay on for a few more minutes, because I think this is a great conversation. Monica, will you wrap it up for me?
Yeah, I'll wrap it up, and I'll wrap it up for you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Laura. Bye, Jeremy. Nice to meet you. Bye, Monica. I love you guys. And I'll see you all real soon, okay?
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Thanks, honey, for inviting me on.
This comment about what Jeremy was talking about our target market, our niche or tribe. Like, in reality, it's whoever's vibrating, our target market is whoever's vibrating with the same passion and message that you have, right? Mm-hmm. And we call it, tribes and people that, but really, and it's, Howard Stern has, the people that vibrate in that area. And for me, I think these kinds of conversations are really cool, because we're, even though we have different ways of expressing it, different ways of being it, different ways of looking at it and experiencing it, but at the same time, I think we join in the passion of being truly in love with what we do, and teaching people how to truly love what they do and join into that. Does that make sense? I mean, is that what we're trying to do here?
Definitely.
But
you
how
go,
many
Jeremy.
people get the opportunity to do what they love? I mean, it's very frustrating, the people that go through life, and I would say more people do than don't, that have careers or have jobs, positions that they dread doing. However, they're not in the process of changing. I'm an avid reader, and a book opened up with, you are the way you are, because that's the way you want to be. And if you really wanted to be any different, you'd be in the process of changing right now. A lot of people are not the way they want to be, and they're not in the process of changing. And that's why I think it's so impactful to have Blab and have authoritative figures like you guys to spread the word and say, look, I can relate to your story. I know where you're going because I've been there. I'm all these mile markers ahead of the road than you are, and here's how I can give you a shortcut and help you get to where I am. This is an incredible platform, and
it is. I love it.
I haven't used it that well, but I'm certainly going to, use it more often. And I think for y'all, I mean, the sky's the limit for as early adapters to this program to really inspire and encourage not just females, but people to learn the lessons that y'all have figured out, because you may not realize it, but y'all have figured a lot out. And that's very attractive to people like us who get the opportunity to follow you. I love looking at your stuff, Monica. It's awesome how I know you are, we don't know each other, but I know you're in Costa Rica. I know that you see value in yourself and you choose to add value to yourself and you think that you're worth investing in. And I think that's admirable, and a lot of other people will see that as well and want to attach to you.
Thanks, Jeremy. Well, that's so sweet. Well, I'm so glad you guys.
You know what? I have to go now to you guys.
So
well,
thank you, Laura.
Really nice to meet you, Jeremy.
Thank you. And I'm gonna wrap up with Jeremy here. And so I'll go ahead and close this. I just think for me, and I think the intention of having this lab and this coach's break room is not only to have these type of conversations, but really support everyone that comes here. Like really support on whatever it is that makes their hearts sing, and to not make it, actually to make it okay, and to make it a place where everybody will support each other. We're all going to support each other. And I'm so happy you're here, Jeremy. I love that I get to talk to you. I love your posts. I love your girlfriend and everything that you guys are doing. Sending you, all of you guys, my love. And I can't wait to see you the 4th Monday. Is it the 4th Monday? I think it's the 2nd and 4th Monday of the month. But anyway, Jeremy, very grateful.
Thank you. Have a great day, Monica.
Thank you, guys. We'll see you in 2 weeks, I think. Okay? Thanks for being here.